I'm going to explain the movie Serious Men. Serious Men is an Indian Hindi language satirical comedy drama film directed by Sudhir Mishra. The film is based on the book of the same name by Manu Joseph and features Nawazuddin Siddiqui in the lead role. Ayan Mani is a middle-class man living in Mumbai with his wife Oja. He belongs to a lower caste Hindu family and has lived his entire life in poverty. Mani's only wish is to give his children the best life that he can. For his economic and social background, Mani has achieved considerable success in his life. He works as the personal assistant to the renowned astronomer Dr. Arvind. He is often scolded by the arrogant doctor who treats his employees as his slaves. Arvind is passionately involved in finding out if the meteorites that land on Earth have microscopic alien organisms in them. For this purpose, he needs to conduct an experiment that will require a lot of funding. One day a minister visits their institution to discuss the funding of the project. The man understands nothing about the experiment, but is ready to provide money because he trusts Arvind. Mani comes to the realization that if someone doesn't understand what the other person is saying, they will doubt their own intelligence and assume the other person is smarter. It eventually becomes a life lesson for him. He starts reading the dictionary every day and choosing the most difficult word to use in a conversation. Then he uses his vast vocabulary to pretend to be of a higher social class than he is. Using the same technique, one day he takes his pregnant wife to a resort where they hang out by the swimming pool. When a staff member informs them that only the residents are allowed there, he confidently lies and gets the services for free. While at the pool, Mani tells his wife that the youngsters playing in the pool are the fourth generation people. He explains that the first generation is the one who doesn't know the importance of education. The second generation realizes its importance late in life. The third one is provided with the best education their parents can afford, and by the time the fourth generation exists, their parents are rich enough for them to afford swimming at an expensive resort. Monty is determined to make his child the fourth generation and skip the others altogether. A few minutes later, the manager and a staff member approach him, having found out about his lies. Oja pretends to have severe cramps to avoid being convicted, but her water breaks while she's at it. The bystanders help to give birth to a baby boy by the pool. Using his favorite dictionary, Mani writes a letter to his boss and takes a 2-month paternity leave. After the birth, they name their kid Udi and take great care of him. Udius is a hearing aid and is not the brightest kid, but his parents love him dearly. When he turns 6, they take him to a prestigious Christian school. He is asked several simple questions but stays quiet throughout the interview. Because the candidates are selected in terms of their IQ, Udi's disqualified. Then the parents take him to another school, claiming that they have come upon Arvind's recommendation. The admission officer rings Arvind and finds out that he didn't provide a written recommendation letter and just wanted to get rid of Mani. Mani overhears them talking and is furious at his boss for disregarding his son's education. In a press conference, when Arvind is the primary guest, someone from the audience asks him how he's so sure that the alien microbes have already entered the Earth. He gives them a vague scientific answer and insults the man for the dumb question. The incident makes a mark on Mani's mind and he thinks about it a lot. A few months later, Udi is in the classroom looking out the window when the teacher asks him to pay attention. He in turn questions her why humans can't be injected with chlorophyll to create oxygen as a byproduct and save the Earth. Such an advanced question for a 6-year-old is uncommon, and it even leaves the teacher speechless. She asks him to come forward and solve a simple math problem, but he starts to solve it using a complex mathematical process. The teacher thinks he's trying to insult her and takes him to the principal's office. It turns out that Udi is studying in the same Christian school that rejected him the first time. He has somehow turned into a scientific genius in some months. He is now the highest-ranking boy in the class and an asset to the school. The principal calls his parents and praises the kid's intelligence. If he were to be a Christian, the school could have provided him with a full scholarship. The principal subtly tries to persuade the parents into changing their religion for their son. But Moni refuses. He shows her a book of offers that Udi has received from other schools, which makes the principal agree to all the terms and conditions. Following the meeting, Udi gets to study in the school for free. When the news about a genius kid goes around the neighborhood, a media company comes to interview him in the backward colony that he lives in. Strangely enough, when the interviewer asks follow-up questions to his complicated answers, the kid is rude to him, similar to how Arvind was mean to the reporter. The viewers eat up the story of a poor kid with no resources being smarter than most adults. Udi's popularity skyrockets after the interview. People from his neighborhood come to take pictures with him and treat him like a celebrity. Later that night, Mani goes to a local street vendor and pays him for primary school question papers. It's revealed that he buys them every semester so Udi can score full marks. Similarly, he makes the kid learn a few lines about quantum science every night. Udi recites the lines and pretends to be mad whenever someone asks him a follow-up question. That way the father and son have been cheating everyone into thinking Udi is gifted. Even Osha doesn't know about their plan, as they've been able to keep it a secret from everyone till now. Then we're introduced to a politician duo, Anuja and her father Keshav. They're planning to use Udi's popularity for their party's benefit. They visit Mani and ask him for Udi's help in the upcoming election. The only thing he has to do is support the projects that Anuja comes up with. After finding out that Udi will be awarded for his support, Mani agrees to let him work for them. As his first task, the kid will have to convince his neighborhood to give up their houses so the party can proceed with a redevelopment project. By the end of the project, many skyscrapers will be built in the colony with facilities like schools and hospitals. Moni likes the idea and convinces his son to help. Udi is called to speak in front of the neighborhood during a program. Mani is on a nearby roof talking to his son through an ear implant. With his help, Udi gives a heartfelt speech and convinces the people to sign the consent form. People think he's smarter than all of them and automatically agree to whatever he says. One night, Udi's best friend and neighbor Sayali is scolded by her mother for failing in school. To teach her a lesson, the woman kicks her out for a while. Udi follows her to the terrace and promises to make her score full marks in the next exam. When Sayali doesn't believe him, he reveals that he's not actually a genius kid. He only learns whatever his father teaches him and cheats on every exam. He makes her promise not to tell anyone before separating. The following morning, Udi feels uneasy about what he did last night. He asks Mani if they can share the secret with their best friends, but Mani is strictly against it. He explains that his best friend is Udi's mother and he hasn't told her, so the secret is only supposed to be between the two of them. At school, Sayali asks him to recite a multiplication table in front of everyone. Udi regrets telling her about the secret and storms off. She apologizes later, but it doesn't make him feel any better. The next day, he tells his father about Sayali knowing their secret. Mani panics and brings Sayali to the terrace. Her father works as a janitor in the same institution that Mani works. He threatens the little girl that he will kick her father out if she tells anyone. The poor girl swears on her life and stops teasing Udi at school. The next day is a big one for Arvind. His years-long research is at its climax as they've sent air balloons to the stratosphere to collect the sample of the alleged alien microbe. However, the results come out negative, which means the funds to take the research further will be taken away. To save his reputation, Arvind makes a fake report declaring that the experiment was successful. When Mani gets his hands on the report, he remembers what Arvind had done when he needed help to admit his son to a school. As a payback, he shows the negative reports to the officials. That caused them to fire Arvind for fraud. He feels accomplished after teaching his boss a lesson after years of being treated like a servant. But then only a week later, Arvind is called to Udi's house as the chief guest of an annual program. He meets Udi and quickly figures out that the kid is no genius. Mani begs him to not tell anyone, promising to get him his job back. Arvind doesn't believe that he has such connections, but he agrees to give him a chance anyway to save his son's career. Mani goes to the politician Anuja and asks her to pull some strings for Arvind. Initially, she doesn't want to get involved in something that doesn't benefit the party, but Mani manages to convince her. Anuja decides to write a letter to the Home Minister for Arvind's project's restoration. In turn, the doctor keeps his mouth shut about Udi. The kid has to recite another speech the next day, but he struggles to memorize it. A frustrated Mani scolds him and pressures him to do better. The nagging is too much for Udi to take. By now, he's tired of keeping up with the lies that harm his mental health. At the next program, he can hardly speak when nervousness gets the best of him. He passes out in the middle of the speech. He's immediately rushed home, but Anuja asks him to get better soon because he has a busy week ahead. Somewhere else, the Science and Technology Ministry considers taking Arvind back because of Mani's efforts, but then Arvind finds out that the one who exposed his work was also Mani. Furious at the betrayal, he sends a letter to Anuja and her father exposing ADI. They call him out for being a fraud, but cannot take an action against him since their party's reputation depends on it. When Mani returns home that day, he finds Udi having a mental breakdown. He cannot stop crying and recites the speech continuously. Mani sits down and watches him pace around the house, finally realizing what the pressure of being a genius has done to his son. He is even more horrified when ADI starts banging his head on the wall. Just then Oja returns home and inquires about what is going on. For the first time, Mani tells her the truth about Udi's intelligence. She wishes to have been sold into slavery rather than marrying him. When he argues that he did everything, she accuses him of lying. She knows that he did it for himself and for his false sense of accomplishment. Mani finally gives up and starts looking for a way to end the story he has created. The following day he arranges a meeting with Arvind in an art museum. He hands the doctor a letter of recommendation that he got from the minister. According to it, Arvind is bound to be reappointed to his position. When Arvind refuses to be bribed, Mani claims that he doesn't want anything in return. The museum holds a picture of a pregnant farmer and her son. As they talk, Mani reveals that the woman in the picture is his mother and the 5-year-old kid is him. When a British photographer came to their village back in 1991, the villagers were told that whoever poses for the best picture will be awarded 10,000 rupees. When Mani's mother initially went to be photographed, she was told that she looked too healthy for a farmer, hence his father starved her and made her lose 5 kilos in 2 weeks. The picture the photographer took after that won a competition that made him 200,000. As a reward to the family, he gave them 150. The money was enough for the family to send money to a school, but after being starved for several days, his mother got sick and passed away along with her newborn son. Arvind finally understands that Mani lied for his son and his success and agrees to help him. He stars in a TV show with Udi where he requests the audience to let the child live his life out of the media's eyes. The plan works and Udi no longer has to pretend to be something that he is not. His parents transfer him to a government school that they can afford, without a scholarship. Udi does average in school, but most importantly he is happy. In the last scene we see the father and son spending time together at the beach. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and come back for more. Take care.